Thank you for listening to the Jack Vale Show. And
Madysyn.
With Madysyn. Today we have a very special guest.
Madysyn.
Her name is Madysyn. And we want to talk about something that's been going on in the news. This is really...
hey, you know what Never mind.
No, I want you to finish.
I was going to say, you know what I just realized is I just don't like being called Madysyn.
What?
This show, I just realized, is just clicking with me. It's like Madysyn. But it's because no one ever calls me that. And I just got a new roommate, and that's what she calls me because we don't know each other like that yet. And so she's like, hey, Madysyn. And I'm like, that's so weird. I just don't respond to that anymore.
Wow. Everybody says Maddie?
But I forgot that's what I'm using as like my musician artist name.
Uh-huh. But you might not. Maybe you're going to change it. Maybe you should change it if that's what you're most comfortable. Maddie.
Welcome to the stage, Maddie.
That's not that funny. I think that works. That could work. Anything could work.
Sounds silly.
Okay. Madysyn is a strong, powerful name,
yes.
I feel like.
Son
Madysyn.
of the valiant warrior.
Is that what it means?
Yeah.
Son of the...
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's what my name means.
Really? How come I didn't know that?
I don't know.
Oh, Madysyn started out being a
guy's name first.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. I heard that.
Yep.
Had no idea. I'm so glad I was able to. You know, your father snagged the domain for you a long time ago.
Yeah.
Madysyn.com. Isn't that cool? And then afterwards, I feel like that's when everybody started to like...
Do that?
Yeah, start naming their daughter Madysyn.
What?
Yeah. Well, Madysyn spelled the way that I spell it for you.
Yeah.
With two Y's.
Yeah, I've actually never
Madysyn.
met anyone with that spelling. But for some reason, someone had the username on Instagram, and it took me forever to get it. It was one account.
So weird.
She had never posted ever, and it took forever to get that, but I finally did.
How did you get it?
I think you. You got it for me.
I think so too. Let's talk about that for a minute. So we're going to talk about Andrew Tate today. Maybe not for the entire show, but we do.
He doesn't deserve that.
Ooh. Okay. So we're going to talk about this. I have been sort of trying to educate myself on who he is and what are these controversial things that he said. Obviously, he got shut down from social media, so much so that like Facebook and Instagram, maybe some other platforms too, I guess everything, but specifically Facebook and Instagram completely shut him down so that he could not have a voice at all.
Wait, completely? Like he can't
completely.
post? Or
no,
he's
they
just
deleted his
shadowbanned?
accounts, I believe. I think he's just done.
What? I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
Well, I'll double check, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Check your facts.
Yeah, no, permanent. I know it's permanent deletion, permanent banning, whatever you want to call it. The point is, for the rest of his life, he's not going to be able to, unless he started a new account. But then he'd have to wear a wig, and he'd have to like have a disguise.
Where did you read this about?
It's all over. Do you ever go on social media?
I knew that he was like banned, quote unquote, but I didn't think that it was like permanent. Like he cannot.
Oh yeah, they either give
how do you even have the power to do that? He could just go with a different email.
It doesn't matter. He's a very famous personality, so you can't do that. Like I said, he'd have to go undercover as a disguise and create a new character, and then maybe he could get away with it if you never knew who he really was. But you can't.
But he still has his podcast, right?
Oh, probably. I guess. We're just talking about social media. Like they did it to Trump.
They didn't delete his account.
They permanently banned him. Twitter permanently banned him.
Twitter?
Yeah.
So he doesn't
probably
have a
other
Twitter
things too. But right, he can't. He hasn't been able to do Twitter. That's why he came up with this Truth Social or whatever, so that he could speak and send. Yeah, it's his own thing. So, but the point is they have totally shut him down from speaking.
Okay,
So
I'll just trust you until I can look it up for myself.
Thank you. That's nice. But Facebook would always, or Instagram would always say you've been banned for however many days, or you've been, I don't know. They throttle your reach and they don't let you be seen or whatever. Yeah. In this case, they shut him down.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about.
Give him the boot. Get out of here.
And you're saying it like you're very happy about it because
no,
apparently
I'm just saying
you've
it
done
is
some
what
research.
it is. It is what it is.
You're very angry.
I'm not angry.
I feel like you're a little passive aggressive with this.
I'm not angry.
It is what it is. They did what they had to do.
He's gone.
Okay. So first of all, this is what I want to say about it. I did as much research as I could do, and I found out that, first of all, I did listen to several interviews and see some of his posts and things that he was saying about his belief system and the differences between men and what women are supposed to do and what men are supposed to do and all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to get mad at me initially for saying this, what I'm about to say, because I'm going to continue on.
Be careful.
I'm going to continue. I'm going to explain myself. There were things, okay, that I heard him say that I agreed with. And then there were many things that he said that I do not agree with at all. So before you jump to conclusions and think that I agreed with all the bad stuff, I would like to
cheat on your wives.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that sometimes there are reasons. But no, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. You know that that's not true.
Yeah.
But I'll give you an example of something that I agreed with that he said. He started to talk about how social media and the world and society in general is sort of painting this picture of real masculinity, and that it should not exist, like that it's toxic. So when you hear this
Toxic
masculinity, which
Right.
everybody's heard of by now.
Yes.
But it's almost to the point now, he said in an interview, where it kind of feels like they're pushing a certain agenda of who men should be and who they should not be, and that all real masculinity is toxic. It almost seems like you can't open up social media anymore and see what stereotypically over the last thousands of years has been known as this manly, masculine man, right? Like the whole lumberjack idea of chopping wood and all this kind of stuff. Like that's toxic masculinity. That's what it feels like to me, is that that's the message that everybody's trying to portray. I kind of see that.
The message that people are trying to portray is that men should be able to embrace all sides of themselves and not feel like they aren't allowed to cry, or they're not allowed to like wear something that other men would like put them down for and stuff like that. Just like, I don't think it's like, oh, if you have muscles and you are a straight man, you're toxic. Like, I don't think that's, I think maybe there's extremists out there that would like think that way, but I don't think that's like the main message of what people are trying to get across.
Really? People in general?
Yeah, like the whole like,
I don't know, because the thing that I am noticing is that it seems kind of like everybody, when you know how, okay, I just feel like there's not a middle ground here. Somehow we went from men being men and women being women, stereotypically, okay, in the past, to transgenderism. It's almost like there was no, what the heck happened here, right? Where is there the middle ground of let's show masculine men's more sensitive sides? Like we skipped all that. We skipped what you're trying to say that the message is supposed to be or what they're trying to do, and we went straight to men becoming women, women becoming men. We like completely got out in left field somewhere, and I don't understand that.
I don't
Agree.
No, I don't agree, and I'm not picking up on what you're trying to say either. I don't really understand the whole like.
Okay, let me see if I can. Do I need
like,
to?
Obviously, yes, there are many people that are transgender, but I don't think that has anything to do with toxic masculinity. I think those are two separate like subjects.
No, I'm making the point because I'm talking about real masculinity versus toxic masculinity, and that the world is sort of saying that they're one and the same. That's what I think. That's what I see when I look around.
Okay.
I'm seeing that the men who are men and excited about manly things and they show off their masculinity, they are not celebrated anymore. It is now that they are sort of like swept under the rug, and the focus that everybody has is on men who are not actually men anymore.
Well, I think that if something has been celebrated for years after years after years, and one specific other thing has been pushed down and not celebrated at all and has been condemned and not appreciated, then there does have to be a switch to say like, hey, like it can be gradual, or it can be like that, or it, whatever. Like, I'm trying to say like,
I think I know what you're. I think I know what you're.
I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't think putting down like masculinity is bad, but that's not what is happening. I don't think.
What do you see happening? Because what do you, first of all, let me ask you this. What do you mean by something that is pushed down for generations or whatever? Like what, in this case that we're talking about, what has it been that has been pushed down or hidden or oppressed?
Any part of a man that isn't stereotypically masculine and like what a man should be.
I think
like some fathers don't want to work and want to be stay-at-home dads, and the mom really wants to work and like pursue a career. And that, I think, that's not like stereotypical, that's not normal, especially in like certain areas and stuff, for people to be like, because there are plenty of people out there who are like, the woman should stay at home, the woman has to be like whatever. So I think it's just like opening the doors to say, hey, like you can do whatever you want to do. And it's okay. Like you don't have to feel like you have to conform to society to be a certain way. You're still a man, and you can still be a stay-at-home dad. You can still cry, and it's okay. You can still wear whatever you want. You're still a man.
I think so too. I think that's exactly what's going on. I think that the world is kind of like saying you can be whoever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. And I think that's the problem. We could get into that in a different episode or talk about it in this episode, but I think there's a whole host of different problems that come along with that. When it becomes this no right and wrong mentality, when it becomes this, no, anything you want to do, I think it's a problem, because that's not true. That has never typically been the case throughout the beginning of time, through the Dark Ages. I mean, there's always been a right or wrong. There hasn't been very many gray areas. It's always been this is what a man is, this is what a woman is, and this is how we function in life, and this is how differently God created these people. And without acknowledging the differences, I may as well not have any respect for women at all. Heck, they can do everything that I can do. I can do everything that they can do. I can wear what they wear. They can wear what I... Pretty soon, you reach a point where, like, everybody can do anything.
Everybody is equal, and humans are humans.
Well, not everybody is equal. That's not true.
What?
It's not true that everybody is equal.
Like...
It's not true. I could prove it right now. We could arm wrestle right now, and I could prove my point. It's not true that everybody...
I'm not talking about like little like scientific differences between man and woman, whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about humans at their core. We are all humans. We are all equal. That is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like...
But we're not.
Obviously.
We're not equal. Humans at their core, none of it, we're not equal. Men and women are not equal. And that might sound shocking, but I think what you're doing is you're confusing people, human beings being equal.
Yeah.
Okay, and being created equally, as opposed to all humans should be treated equally. That I believe in. I believe that everybody should be treated the same. I don't care if you are gay, straight, black, white, transgender, whatever you are, I think everybody should 100% of the time be treated equally. But the creation is a completely different kind of a thing. We're not equal. I cannot have a baby.
Okay.
I don't have, there are so many things that I respect women for having the ability to be able to do. And do you know, I would tell your mother, she would joke about how, guys are when they get sick. They get a cold.
Yeah, they're babies about it.
I have to concede to that. I have to be like, okay, you're right. It's true. I'm more of a baby when I'm sick than you. And she always snaps out of it way quicker and everything like that. And then she still insists on getting up and doing certain things while they're, this has been a old thing that we've been talking about for years.
Yeah.
So there are differences.
There are
and
differences.
And it's okay to acknowledge those differences, but we're moving into a society where you can't acknowledge the differences anymore. We got to know everybody's the same. Bullcrap. Everybody is not the same. And the minute you start saying that we are not the same, the minute you start saying that we are the same, it takes away from a woman's ability to have respect for what a man is and who they are. And it takes away from the man's ability to be able to say, I respect a woman because. Now you can't even say, who are you even respecting? You can't even define. People are afraid to say what a woman is.
I do understand where you're coming from. And
so you have to acknowledge the differences.
Yes, I do agree with that. But I don't think that this is like the world view or even like all of America's view.
Well, I don't either.
But you're saying like you can't even do this in our society. You can't do this. I really just think that that's like you can't do that on social media. You can't tweet something about that because you'll get canceled. You can't like say something. It's all like I feel like social media is its own world and what we call society when really go outside and go walk down the street and try to have a conversation with someone. And I think that their opinion could be very, very different, probably will be very different than what society is saying.
That's been the problem for a very, very long time.
What?
Is society has developed what is right, what is okay through the media, through the news, through what they see in Hollywood, what they create, all this kind of stuff, which I have news for you. Not for you, for everybody. You already know this, I'm sure. But from Hollywood to New York, there's a whole world in between. Okay? There's a whole bunch of states in between that world that believe in something different that what they believe and what they believe. So, I don't know. The problem that I have, like getting back to the Andrew Tate thing, first of all, I want to be very clear before I go into this whole thing. I think that Andrew Tate is... I have learned some things, okay, this morning. Now, that disgusted me, okay, about this guy. I don't care. I'm trying to get him on the show. I'm communicating. Okay, I am. It's going to be great. And I even told him that I see where he's coming from in certain aspects. My 20-year-old daughter, however, has some questions. And I think that's okay. We're supposed to be able to have differences. I mean, and with him, though, I have no problem still having him on the show, and I'm sure he'd have no problem still talking to us after saying I strongly disagree with a lot of what he said and found out some things that make me just think he's, just really awful. So let's talk about that. No, it's really okay. And let me tell you why I have no problem saying he's awful, because whether he comes on, if he was on the show right now, I would still say, listen, I have seen some videos that portraying you treating women horrendously. And there's no excuse for what I saw. I mean, these videos exist. Okay. Apparently they've been pulled down a lot and re-uploaded and whatever. But the stuff that he got in trouble for was for stuff that I'm not really sure what would be the cause of him getting pulled off of social media, because think about what he said. Okay, one of the things that supposedly, again, this is like not confirmed. I guess everybody has their own ideas of what it was that finally got him pulled off. I still don't really know. I can't really find it. But so during the whole COVID thing, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because he spoke out a lot about COVID in 2020, what was going on. In 2020, he took off and went to, he said, Sweden for 3 months.
Okay.
Did you know this? He went to Sweden for 3 months. So all across the world, everybody's dealing with COVID.
Right.
Everybody's masks and everything.
Yeah.
And in Sweden was one of the places that had an exceptionally low rate or something. And they had they didn't shut anything down. They didn't make masks mandatory. They didn't do any of that stuff. So he explained his experience, his own personal experience. Him and some people went to Sweden and lived there for 3 months while we were shut down and couldn't do things and were told what to do by our government and other countries too. And he said being in Sweden for those 3 months, it was as if you were on another planet. It was as if there was nothing going on anywhere. Everything was fine. Everybody was happy. You could go to the restaurants and businesses and whatever. And it was like you didn't even know anything was going on. And then when he came back here and saw how things were, he said it kind of opened his eyes and he went, wait a minute, there's something much deeper, something much bigger going on here. If you can go over here and everything's okay, but over here they're trying to... So he expressed how he felt about that, and that was apparently a really, really big deal, and got a big backlash from that. Just like I'm going to get a big backlash from people that listen to this, because I'm sharing my experience from listening to somebody else's experience. You can get in trouble for that, and that's what I'm saying. It's horrible. Just for explaining someone else's experience, you can get shut down. That's why there were times like Trump would get suspended when he was on Twitter for retweeting something. Now think about this. It's because in the mind, people automatically assume, well, since you retweeted something, it's something you agree with, and therefore that's your opinion, and then you get shut down.
Yes.
Okay. It's not always true. It's not true. A lot of times people would retweet something or post something that somebody else posted or share something just because they wanted the world to be aware. You can't say you must feel the same way 100% of the time if you retweet something or share somebody else's thoughts. It's just not true. You could be
sharing
wanting
someone else's thoughts, no, but retweeting something, it's like
that's exactly what it is.
I mean, verbally versus like literally on social media is different, because I could verbally tell you a story about something that happened to my friend and how she felt about it versus her telling the story, how she felt, and then me retweeting it. That is a completely different thing. I'm telling you, oh yeah, whatever, this happened, and now she really doesn't like Jetta's, the car. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, clearly Victoria. I was just thinking of a friend in my head. Clearly Victoria doesn't like Jetta's.
Okay.
And then had she have tweeted something, blah, 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 whatever, I hate Jetta's, and I retweeted it. Obviously, people are going to assume I also hate Jetta's, because why would I retweet that?
Well, that's a human perception problem. That might not be your actual intention. That's just might be the perceived. I wouldn't retweet that tweet unless
I also hated Jetta's.
Okay.
I wouldn't just retweet that to be like, hey guys, look at this funny story.
Well, we're not talking about Jet. I mean, in most cases, I think it's going to be more of a significant idea or thought than I hate Jetta's.
Even so, I think it still stands.
Okay. All right.
Have you ever retweeted something you didn't agree with?
All the time.
No.
Just this morning.
No, you didn't. Because people don't do that.
Okay. So David Portnoy, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Is that right?
I don't know who we're talking about.
Barstool Sports. Are you familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that guy. So he had Tate on his podcast.
Okay.
Back in July. And there were some things that even he agreed with that he said, and there were some things that he did not agree with. And one of the things was that, first of all, let me ask you this question before I get into this. Do you, sharing his experience of going to Sweden for 3 months during the thick of COVID,
Yeah.
do you believe that he justifiably should have been ridiculed or shut down or suspended in any way for sharing that experience?
Depends on what he said. I don't know what he said. I didn't read about it or hear it.
Okay.
He was probably, what I'm guessing is he was probably very insensitive to all of the COVID deaths that occurred in America.
I wouldn't say that he was. First of all, I don't know the answer to that question because I did not listen to a long interview. I heard a segment where he expressed what his feelings were about that experience. Period.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'd have to really read it.
Yeah. I feel like this is not really necessarily an episode about Andrew Tate as much as it is lots and lots of people out there like him.
Yeah.
Who are kind of doing the same stuff. After this, some of the things that I learned this morning about the situation, I saw a video where he punched a woman.
Ooh.
When I saw that, I thought, whoever that is, I don't care who it is. You don't. Obviously, I know I feel stupid even having to say this, but you don't punch a woman.
Yeah.
The only reason I feel like I have to say that is because he spent so much time on this one podcast saying, talking about how I love women, I respect women, I blah 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 blah. No, you don't. If that video, it's hard to see a video and go something was taken out of context. I don't think so. It looked like a real video to me. Anyways, there's no way. I respect women too, but one of the things that he said in an interview was, he said that he would never want a woman to pay for her own meal or something like that. Like if they were having coffee or breakfast or lunch or whatever, he would always pay because that's a level of respect that a man's supposed to have for a woman. And then I saw that video this morning. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
So but it's new information and I don't know. It was pretty awful.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. One of the things that he said was that men are generally smarter than women.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How do you feel about that statement?
Men are generally smarter than women.
Yeah.
I think that's a very man thing to say.
I'm not
surprised at all that he said that. Obviously, it's incorrect.
Oh, it's incorrect. So you believe that is an
Yes.
incorrect assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay. And can you give me an example?
I think.
Can I tell you the analogy that he said?
Yeah.
Andrew Tate said that if he were on an airplane and they were about to fly into a tornado or something, he would not want a woman flying the plane. Mm-hmm. He would want a male pilot flying the plane. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
How do you feel about that statement?
It's nothing I haven't heard before. Men are always, for whatever reason, they think women are worse drivers. And so if he thinks women pilots are worse than male pilots, it's like, okay, overdone. If you're going to say something misogynistic by now, at least say it interesting. Like everyone's heard it before.
He did. He kind of expanded his point to also state that it's because women are more emotional. They are created as more emotional creatures than men.
I see what he's getting at.
And so
the woman pilot's going to freak out because she's going in a tornado. She's thinking with her heart because women don't think with their brains. And so she's like, oh my gosh, freaking out, whatever. That's what he was getting at. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then as a man, he would be thinking with his brain. And
that's
he'd be
right.
like, oh, I need to fly this plane. I need to get away from this tornado.
Oh, yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, he's so unintelligent.
Oh. You did a good job putting that out there. No. The whole time you were just saying all that, I would wanted to crawl under a rock. But is it true? Let me ask you this. Is it
Is it true?
No, let me finish this sentence. Not is that true? Is it true that women in general, in your opinion, are more emotional creatures, the way that they were created, than men?
No.
That's not true?
No.
Well, we're going to disagree there.
I think men are just as, if not more, emotional, at least the men that I've met in my life. And
Really?
yes, just as dramatic.
Can you give us some names of some of these men?
I will not do that.
Okay.
I've never understood that assessment or that generalized statement, because it's a common thing. Like if you ask people, like that's a very common misogynistic thing that like people know is like, oh, women are more emotional, women are more dramatic. Not true. Not in my 20 years of life.
Really? Wow. That's a lot of life too. I'm really impressed. Let me tell you what I've learned.
Not in my 20 years.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I've learned in my 49 years.
Okay.
Women, I think are more, in general, are more emotional creations. Okay, creatures.
Okay.
However, I don't think that necessarily means that women are not going to make as good of a pilot as a man. I'm not sure where that comes from exactly, but I think he's coming from a few different perspectives. I don't know exactly what the ratio is, but I'm telling you right now, I mean, there's not a whole heck of a lot of women out there flying commercial planes. That's number one. That's one thing. In fact, I mean, probably every single flight I've ever been on in my life has always had a male pilot.
Yeah,
so there's some
I think
things.
same.
Yeah, there's some jobs that just seem to have more of a male dominance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Over women. So
Right.
whatever that is, I don't know. But I don't know. The smarter thing is kind of a different thing, a whole different thing. I think him saying that men are smarter than women. I think that's also coming from the perspective that founding fathers and looking back in history, you typically see men as leaders. However,
So weird. It's almost like women were oppressed or something.
I don't think it. You know what I think it was that I don't think that men did a very good job in a lot of cases doing what we were supposed to do as far as how we were supposed to be treating women to begin with. And maybe it's possible that maybe if men would have had a little more respect and shown that respect for women, that they would have more embraced who they were. Because they did that over a period of time, right? I mean, 100 years ago, women did that. There were still strong, intelligent women as there are today. These people exist, by the way. But I'm just trying to make you mad. But back 100, 200 years ago, men embraced who they were and women embraced who they were. And, am I digging a hole here?
Women weren't allowed to embrace who they were. Women weren't even allowed to work. They weren't allowed to vote. They couldn't do anything.
Oh, yeah,
This is
I
very
know.
recent. Men have
Yeah.
a leg up on women for being more there being more men pilots than there are women. We haven't been working for as long as you guys.
Do you know any friends? Do you have any girls in your life, any women who have ever expressed to you they want to be a commercial airline pilot?
No.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next question. Wouldn't want women to fly into a tornado. They're too emotional. That's right. Okay. Are there any jobs that you can think of that maybe a woman
Shouldn't do.
shouldn't be hired to do?
Oh my goodness.
Like, would you be interested in becoming a lumberjack someday?
No, but there are female lumberjacks.
Yeah, not many, but I'm
They
sure they
out
are.
there. They're out there. No, absolutely not. Any job a man can do, a woman can do.
I'm not sure that I would ever be attracted to a female lumberjack. It just doesn't sound like something that I would
That's
think.
fine.
Ooh,
There
hey,
other people are.
Could you set us up? Could we? It's hard for me to imagine people in my world going, you know what? My perfect idea of a woman is a lumberjack.
There, why not? Some men out there would
Why
like
not?
that.
No, you're right.
A lot of men like bodybuilder women and like stuff like that.
Do you know what in my mind makes women one of the many things that I really respect about women? And I think maybe, this should be praised more, is the fact that they have the ability to do so many things that I could never do. Like,
Give birth.
yeah, I was going to say wash the dishes, but I was also going to say I'm just playing. I was going to say give birth.
Yeah.
But it's not just, you say give birth as if it's just, oh, this is an extra thing that women can.
No.
There
It's
is
absolutely very important and
Oh
should
my
be
gosh.
celebrated. But
9 months of having to deal with that. And then watching it, okay, because I've watched it multiple times. I was there when you were born. It is the most beautiful, courageous thing I have ever seen a woman do in my entire life. Men are supposed to praise women for the incredible abilities that they're able to do, which take, by the way, not just what it seems to take physically on them, but also mentally, intellectually. You have to, there's something to be said about things like, now, I don't even know if it's a bad word or not, but mother's intuition, women's intuition. Do you know, I have wanted to pursue things in my life multiple times, and some weird reason, your mom had absolutely zero actual evidence for why it would be a bad idea, but it was a feeling she had. And if I pursued down that road or decided I'm going to make this decision, knowing that, it sometimes has failed. And I went, oh, I should have listened to. So there's something about the way a woman's mind works that is brilliant to me. And I think it's important that we, as guys, we realize that we can be a little shallow, and we sometimes need to kind of weigh that when we're trying to make decisions and think about our wives and respect, who they are.
yeah.
But it bothers me today that there's so much of we're all the same. Don't you think eventually it's going to reach a point where we're not going to really respect anybody anymore? We're not going to have to. If we can all do the same stuff, we're just respecting each other as equals all the time, and not that you should be held up on a pedestal here because I couldn't do that. Because now it's going to be, oh, I could do that, but good job. I think that's a really scary time that we're living in, that we're moving into that direction. I want to come home from a hard day's work or the end of a week, look at the bank account and feel like your mom is going, good job. That's incredible. I couldn't have done that. You're awesome. You're amazing. For things that she knows that she could not do because I'm stronger in a specific area. You have strengths and weaknesses that are different than mine, Madysyn.
Yeah.
I have some that are different than yours. And if we're not respecting each other for who we are and the way that God made us, I just think we've never been in that world either, by the way. This is all brand new stuff. So think about it. There's been a certain way that we've done things and survived. And now it's getting to this point where like people are afraid to speak. They're going to get shut off of social media for saying things like man, woman, that showing some of the differences. I don't know.
I understand where you're coming from.
Well, thank you. Now, some of the stuff that he said are like kind of insinuate, or maybe he's even said it. Again, I have not seen all of the stuff, but the stuff about women being property, I've heard him say some things that I think are horrendous and awful and terrible. So for the record, I do want to make sure that is known. But I think that it is also a really scary thing that we're getting silenced and shut down for thoughts and ideas, no matter how.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
You should be able to just say whatever you want.
Yeah. You know how like I would post something, maybe as an influencer, I might post something on Facebook or a YouTube comment or something. And you see people come to your defense. That's why communication is so important. A platform should not ban somebody for expressing their opinion, no matter what the opinion is, because trust me, there will be plenty of people having that conversation and coming to their defense, shutting them down, all kinds of stuff. So,
which is normal. That should happen.
It should happen.
Yeah. I don't understand I don't understand the reason for completely banning someone so they can't say anything anymore, taking their speech away. I don't understand. Do you know why he got taken down? What the app,
the actual
Facebook
reason
or whatever it was said?
It's funny. I thought that I did until a few hours ago.
Oh.
Because you hear all of these things and you wonder, somebody says, oh, they shut me down because I said blah, 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 whatever. And then you find out later it's actually a completely different reason that they were shut down. I haven't found a reason yet necessarily that justified being shut down from social media. Until a few hours ago, I saw somebody post the real reason, the quote unquote real reason that he was shut down. And it was because of some investigation where he was encouraging the mistreatment of women. And in that investigation, they had found some of these materials, like videos and things, where he was clearly hitting a woman. Now, let me say this. I think, in my opinion, you should be able to ban somebody for a reason like that. That's called, you put that in the terrorist category. You find people who are building bombs and planning to blow somebody up. You got to shut those people down.
Of course.
You find a man who's mistreating a woman and you see it happening in a video and you go, oh, well, this can't be allowed.
Right.
So that may be the case here. I'd have to look into it a little bit further. If so, great, obviously. But it doesn't matter because that's a very, very tiny sliver of what's actually going on in the world, because we know that people are getting suspended, banned, silenced, censored, all kinds of stuff because we were just talking about my friend Terrence, who has a pancake mix. They did the whole Aunt Jemima thing, took her off the shelf or something, or I guess they rebranded it, and now her face is not there anymore, and whatever. Or what was the other one?
I don't know.
There was another one too, but he came out with his pancake mix, and Facebook and Instagram too, I think, or Facebook for sure, suspended him for a while, for 90 days, because he posted a picture of his pancake mix. That's the information that I have so far. Again, there might be more to it. I doubt it.
Do you know what the caption said or anything?
I have no idea what the caption said, but I don't care if the caption said they silenced Aunt Jemima for being racist. I don't know, or whatever. And so here's my new pancake mix, and with his face on the cover of the box. Even if it was something like that, I can't imagine. Can you imagine how screwed up is the world where my black friend can have a pancake mix with his face on the cover, okay? And he's in jeopardy now of being canceled or banned or suspended for racist activity. Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
It is.
I think it's so
very makes no sense.
What about this? I have another question for you.
Okay.
A horrible, horrible person who you know for a fact is horrible. Mm-hmm. And they say positive things. They say something that you agree with. Is it harder for you to agree with them because you know they're such a horrible person?
If someone who is a genuinely terrible human said something I agreed with, I would probably have to check myself. To be like, okay, I need to reevaluate because why do we agree on the same thing?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But that just has to do with specifics. I don't know. It would depend on how terrible that person is and what exactly they said. So, what's the saying? A broken clock is right 2 times a day.
Yeah. That's it.
Or once
you said
a day.
it.
2 times a day.
Twice a day.
Twice a day. Twice a day.
A broken clock is right twice a day. That's Andrew Tate right there for you in a nutshell. I don't know. I don't think people should ever get shut down for ideas or opinions, no matter how crazy they are. And it's really bothered me that this is even, that we're even talking about this, like conspiracy theories have always been these fun things, UFOs of the, JFK is not really dead, all of these kind of stuff. Like most of it is garbage, but a lot of it, sometimes you start reading and you start going, you got a point. If anything, it's fun. If anything, it's just fun to converse with people. It gives you something to talk about, things like that. So it's not a reason to get silenced from social media. Who the heck who do these platforms think they are that they can silence, that they're in charge of like what's true or not?
Well, it's their app.
Oh yeah, you're right. And they have their fact checkers.
It makes plenty of sense. They do have the right. It's their app that other people are going on to, and you got to play by their rules if you want to stay on it.
Which means you can't post what they think is inaccurate information. How screwed up is that?
It's not great, but that's what it is.
I have a couple of quotes for you.
Oh.
And I would like you to tell me what you think of these quotes.
Okay.
If you want to shine like the sun, first you have to burn like it.
If you want to shine like the sun, first you have to burn like it.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you?
If you want to be great, you got to go through hell first.
Yeah, maybe. Or you have to work hard, or whatever to really become. Mm-hmm. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
No, I disagree.
How could you disagree with a statement that says if you want to shine like the sun, then first you have to burn like it?
I think you could shine like the sun just by being yourself.
Well, the sun is the sun is a hot fireball.
But it's not literal, it's a metaphor.
Is shining like the sun a good thing?
Yeah, in that metaphor, I think it is.
It is in that metaphor. And
Shine
in order
like the
to
sun,
shine
you
like
have
the
to
sun, you just have to
burn
be like
first.
yourself?
I just mean like...
Hitler was himself. He was just himself. Do you think he shined like the sun?
What do you want me? Do you want me to agree with it and just be like, yeah, you have to burn first?
That's what the statement says.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with him? You think you could just shine? If you want to shine like the sun,
If you want to shine like the sun,
you have to burn like
it. Be nice to people and smile and have a good day and be your best self and put out positive energy. But I don't think that whole narrative of you have to really work and kill yourself to be great. Like, no, you could just do your best and you'll probably end up being great.
You're so sweet. You're so
Who
sweet.
said that?
Okay, I'm going to tell you in a minute. I have another quote.
Okay.
This is a quote that somebody said. I can fight only for something that I love. Love only what I respect, and respect only what I at least know.
That sounds normal, right?
And I can fight only for something that I love.
Fight
love
for
only,
what I love.
Love only what I respect.
Love what I respect.
And respect only what I at least
and
know.
respect what only I... Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do one more. Let me find another one.
Okay.
I like the here's one.
Are these all from different people?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you win, you need not have to explain. If you lose, you shouldn't be there to explain.
What? Say it again.
If you win, you don't have to explain. If you lose, you shouldn't be there to explain.
If you lose, you shouldn't be there to explain.
To me, there's a comedic undertone in that. Kind of like if you lose, just go.
Oh.
I don't know if that's right or not, but
I don't really. That one's like, I'm indifferent to that one.
okay. I have to ask you about this one because I think you might like this one.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
Do not compare yourself to others. If you do, you're insulting yourself.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You'd agree with that.
Yeah.
That's almost, would you say that's encouraging somewhat? Like if somebody who's trying to make something of
Yeah,
themselves,
don't
like
compare
it's kind
yourself
of like
to
an
other people.
encouragement.
Yeah, right. Don't put yourself down.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All of those statements were Adolf Hitler.
All of them?
All of them.
Nah, you made me agree with him. That's terrible.
Also, I kind of felt bad about lying to you a minute ago. When you said, are they from different people? I said, yeah.
I had a feeling it was just going to be something like that. Just
You
all
did.
people I wouldn't like.
Really?
It was terrible.
My point in reading those is that they're in the worst of the worst of the worst. There can be something that somebody says or does that might be good and have nothing to do with how horrendous that person is, with the worst, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
100%, you know.
That makes sense.
I mean, so it's, you know, you have to really, I mean, this whole thing, like some people will talk about how the world is filled with these people who, what am I trying to say, Madysyn? Finish for me.
The world is filled with these people.
People who now you finish.
I don't know what you're gonna say.
You have no idea?
The world is filled with people who are good and bad, and
Men
and
who own.
this. I don't like where this is going.
I was just trying to mess with you. Okay, so how would you feel if we talked to Tate?
I wouldn't really like it that much, but I'd be there.
You'd be there for it. We talked to Andrew Tate, and I was there for it.
Yeah, at least we can be like, oh yeah, I had a conversation with him, and I listened to one podcast because of his, or I think it was one that he was featuring on, but he was really just took the reins on it, and it was just him the whole time. And the entire thing, I was just like, nope. Everything he said, I was like, doesn't make sense.
What was it?
Terrible. I don't even remember. I just looked up Andrew Tate podcasts, and then one of them came up, and it was funny because I don't know who it was or who he was talking to, but the person whose podcast it was sounded like a young man. It was very impressionable, very like interested in what this guy had to say, and asking questions, like agreeing, and everything Andrew Tate was saying was just complete trash, just garbage, which was really disappointing because it's like there's actually people out there. Because at first I'm like, when I first heard about him, I was like, well, he must be ironic. Like, this is satire. This isn't real or whatever. But it really is real. And there's really people out there who like him and genuinely are like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like it sounded like this kid like looked up to this guy who was just so terrible. I didn't understand any of it. It was mostly about how he was treating women like his slaves, basically. And he was like, oh yeah, she just went to go get me this, like she can't say anything, like she has to do whatever I say because I took her to Croatia for free, so she can just like listen to me, and I can have. And he kept referring to her as like, oh yeah, one of my wives. Oh yeah, one of them. And it was just he's just so icky. He was like full of himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I did not like anything I heard.
Well, I'll take my invite back.
No, I genuinely think like, I don't know. He probably, after what I'm saying, he probably wouldn't even respond to you or want to.
You might be surprised. You know, I watched a couple. There's a couple of podcasts that I listened to him on, watched him on, and there were a lot of disagreeing. There was a lot. There was a lot of disagreements with the other people on the show and stuff like that. And he handled it, really well. I mean, I think he knows he's got, no matter where he goes, I mean, he's going to have people who like disagree.
Don't like
In fact,
him.
most of the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope so.
But I think for me, what it all really comes down to every single time is that I think the cases where somebody should be deplatformed are extremely rare. Somebody expressing their opinion on what you think might be a dumb idea, or it might be against the government, or, I mean, the minute, if you think about when you start saying the opposite of what the agenda is, what the media is telling you, you try to go outside the box a little bit, and then you get deplatformed for it. Listen, I'm just telling you, in all my 49 years of living, okay, and the first few don't really count because I don't really remember, but in all my life, I've never seen anything like this before, where it's just scary. It's communism, is what it is. I mean, it's the whole idea of being controlled of what you can and cannot say. The people in the country.
Yeah, it is. It is social media, though.
Mm-hmm.
You still have free speech, and you can still go out and protest or talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's just social media where that's gonna happen.
Well, not really. It's not just social media. It's also media, period. If I had an opinion about something, for example, that was in line with, or I wrote a book, or it was doing very, very well. Okay, it was on the New York Times bestsellers list. It was doing exceptionally well, but it was against what the narrative is overall. Good Morning America would never want me there.
No, yeah. So it is media.
Yeah, it's
general.
media in general, media and social media, I would say.
But you could still write your book, and you could still publish it.
Oh, I'm gonna write it. It's gonna be all about
You can still-
men. That's not. I'm just kidding.
You can still say whatever you want to say. It's just media that's not gonna,
Yeah.
But that's like, I don't know. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Other people still have other opinions, but
What's your opinion? What are you looking
my
at?
opinion on what? Oh, Chris just 1 hour.
Oh.
He just did his little thing.
Oh, it's been an hour. We've been talking about this for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow! I'm surprised.
Mm-hmm. What's my opinion on what?
What's your opinion on the number one thing that I wanted to ask you was, what is your overall opinion on? I want to talk for another like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. On how you actually feel about differences between men and women, and explain a little bit more about what you meant when you said
All people are equal?
yes.
Because when it comes down to it, I see human beings as just souls. They are all human beings, and that is how I see people. Obviously, if you want to look at science and biology, there's a bunch of things that are different, like the human anatomy. Things are going to be different from men and women and everybody individually. We all have different everything, but when it comes down to it, as a whole, we are all humans, and we all deserve the same respect for each other. And that is what I meant by that. I wasn't going into like details about like it's going to be easier for you to arm wrestle me than it is for me to arm wrestle you.
I know, yeah. So you were really referring mostly to being treated the same, being
Yes.
treated equally, and having the same respect.
Right.
I agree, 100%. And I think that's why it's important today, more than in any other time in history, that people are not silenced. because they believe a certain way, they think a certain way. The heads of all of these companies should be thinking along the lines, in my opinion, that people are smart enough to figure things out. And if they want to believe something goofy, that's their right to believe something goofy. If they want to believe something alternative, something different, that's up to them. It's nobody's right to say, you can't speak because I think that's dangerous to people. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
With the exception of something like a terrorist. You know what I mean? There's some things that you have to, but I'm just saying, in general, if somebody has a different idea about something, you understand, we have lived a certain way for hundreds, for thousands of years with not much change. And the rebuttal to that, if I say that to most people today, would probably be, well, then it's about time. We're living in a very exciting time because now we're going to be all the same. But watch and see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the coming days and weeks and months because things are changing quickly. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see where this all, ends up.
Yeah, that is true.
All right. Well, that was fun. Are we going to end it with that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Do you want to end it with a crazy news story?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Breaking news. The girl at Starbucks was mad at me today because I ordered my drink and then she gave me my dad's and then she handed me another drink. It wasn't mine. So I instinctively went to grab my drink, but it was not mine. So I didn't pick it up. And then she let go without me even holding on to it yet. And so This is her handing me my drink. And I'm like, here, maybe my hand out the window. And then she lets go and I grab it and she grabs it and both our hands are touching and now it's an intimate moment. And I was like, that's not my drink. And so she was like, oh. And then she went back inside. She was looking at her computer. She was like, you didn't order a mocha? And I said, no, I ordered a white mocha. That isn't a white mocha. That's just a mocha. And she was like, okay, rolled her eyes, was very upset at me. And then the other girl ended up making my drink. And then the other girl was nice. And then this one, I don't know. She wasn't that nice. She was having a bad day, I guess. And then I left.
That's great. Thank you for listening to the Jack Vale Show with Madysyn, everybody. And be sure to listen to us on whatever platform you want to. Spotify and all that good stuff, and Apple and everything. And also follow us on social media. The Jack Vale Show, literally on every single platform. It's just the Jack Vale Show.
With Madysyn.
With Madysyn. See you next time.
See ya.
It's not the Jack Vale Show with Madysyn.